Welcome back, Middle-earth fanatics, to the second part of the Isengard Army Review series. So last time I covered the big three, well, I guess the big two and the kind of add-on, in Saruman, Lurtz, and then the add-on being Grima. This time I'm going to talk about the named smaller second-tier heroes that you're going to take to help support your army by being troop leaders and might bringers for several of them, as well as a couple extra bonuses they have. So I'm going to cover 4 today. Hopefully this doesn't take 20 minutes like it did last time, and let's just go ahead and dive on in. So first up we have Ugluk. Ugluk has Fight 5, Strength 5, Defense 5, 2 Attack, 2 Wound, 4 Courage, 3 Might, 1 Will, 1 Fate. So not bad. He is, a scout leader, because Ugluk is the one that was seen in the movies that took the head off of the orc that tried to eat the hobbits. And I think that was Snagga. So we're just going to jump straight to special rules. And his special rule is Head Taker. And that is, should Ugluk's force be broken, Ugluk can choose to kill a nearby model instead of taking a courage test. Simply choose a friendly warrior within 2 inches of Ugluk and move him as a casualty. Furthermore, in a turn that Ugluk does this, he will automatically pass his courage test, and his stand fast has a range of 12 inches and affects both warrior and hero models. So not bad to sack one of your own models to auto pass a courage check and affect both heroes and warriors. That's similar to Saruman's own special ability with his voice being able to do that as well. Of course, Ugluk has it at a much cheaper cost than Saruman, and he doesn't do as much naturally. But if you're building a list and you're not taking Saruman, or you are and you're just looking for a second good support hero to maybe extend a 12-inch stand fast for heroes and troops, depending on what size board you're playing on and how many models you have, this is definitely a good option, I think. He is definitely seen in a number of armies, and of course he has his own legendary legion now, which we'll talk about in the future. So he is a hero of fortitude, and just a quick cover of his heroic actions. He has March, Strike, and Strength. Armor and sword, no shield, so he's not going to be shielding, unfortunately, ever, which means if he gets into a fight, he's fighting no matter what. So that's Ugluk. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and talk about the other scout captain, and that is Maher. And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but, shoot me. So he is movement 8, which is interesting because everybody else is movement 6. But he is movement 8, fight 5, strength 5, defense 5, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4. So an extra attack there. However, he gives that up in his might stat with only 2 and 1 will and 1 fate. And then he has armor and 2 swords. And the general thought is the reason he has 3 attacks is because he has 2 swords. So also a little caveat side note for the shaman that can shatter, the shatter shaman, the Gundabad Black Shield shatter shaman. I think somebody else has shatter too, but I can't remember off the top of my head. If they shatter one of his swords, he can still fight. And there's no caveat saying that he goes down to 2 attack. But it's kind of a built-in defense against him being shattered and having him become unarmed. I might have to check the FAQs and leave a note about that, but I'm pretty sure even if he just has 1 sword shattered, he still keeps his 3 attacks. So his heroic actions are March and Strength, which it's kind of hard to see what he's really good for in combat outside of just bringing 3 attacks at Strength 5 and Fight 5. He's not a striker. And with 2 points of might, maybe you're going and doing a strength here. He can get to strength 8, which could be great depending on what you're going against. But I see a lot of his might usually going for movements and combats. Or to might something up in combat. So he does have an option, and that is that an army that includes him, you can upgrade a number of Uruk-hai scouts in his war band to become marauders at a cost of 1 point per model. And the marauders have a movement of 8 inches, just like he does. So there's 2 scout legendary legions, Lurtz's scouts and Ugluk scouts, and Maher is seen in both of them and is upgrading the scouts in those for free. But we'll talk about those later, like I said, just kind of a little thing that I wanted to throw in there to talk about real quickly. So Maher is also Hero Fortitude, so that's kind of something at this point on, you're only going to see Hero Fortitudes and minor or independent heroes. So the last named Uruk hero is Vrasku, and he is one that you see in a lot of Isengard lists. If someone's taking Isengard, just straight Isengard, Vrasku is almost an automatic take after the leader, which is usually either Lurtz or Saruman. And that's because of the fact that he is a shooting hero, and he is a fight value of 5, a shoot value of 3, a strength of 5, defense of 5, 2 attack, 2 wounds, courage 4, 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. He is armor, sword, and crossbow. He can do heroic march and heroic accuracy, and he is expert shot for a special rule. So he's popping 2 shots whenever he shoots at 3 ups. So you got 2 strength 4 shots coming at your enemy on 3 ups. That's pretty darn good, which again is why you usually see him. A lot of folks do it where they take him and a warband or so of crossbows, or they have them scattered out, but they put like the majority of the crossbows in his warband, and then they literally just have him sit back and plink at the enemy. And since you're evil, you don't care if your own troops get into combat. You could potentially go and make some cheeky shots with him to ruin an opponent's plans for heroic combats, or ruin, any sort of thing like that. Just, shoot at some heroes and take them off their mounts. Stuff of that nature is very common with Vrasku. And yes, once again, he is a hero of fortitude. So the last named hero, and we're going to wrap this video up, is Sharku, who we all know about. He is an orc hero, so that's a changing keyword. He is also a hero of fortitude. Surprise, surprise. He is fight value 4, yuck. Strength 4, defense 5, 2 attack, 2 wound. Typical courage of courage 3 when it comes to hero orcs. 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Armor and riding dagger. So his riding dagger actually has a special ability to it, and it says it is a dagger. So I'm going to assume that you can feint with it. Additionally, whenever an enemy hero model in base contact resolves a strike against Sharku and fails to wound, immediately resolve 1 strength 4 strike against that model. So, yeah, whenever they roll to wound and they fail to do so, you're striking. So I've seen this 2 different ways, and I've seen it as every failed to wound dice against him is a strength 4 or hit against the enemy hero. And I've also seen it just to be like, oh, you didn't wound him this time, so you take 1. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. I'll have to go ahead and look that up to see if that's actually been FAQ'd. In my opinion, it's the first one, where if you throw 4 dice and you only wound with 2 of them, then you take 2 strength 4 hits. Moving on, his heroic actions, the only one he has outside of the standard 3 is March, and then he has a warg and a shield for war gear options, which you usually see him taking both of those, and then usually leading a small contingent of mounted, or warg riders. They're not mounted, they're warg riders. They are mounted, but they're warg riders. I'm so used to playing good armies that I say mounted this, mounted that. No, they're just warg riders. So that's something that you usually see as well in a list, because of the fact that it gives you some 10-inch mobility, a little bit of knockdown power. I'd say a little bit of hitting power with some knockdowns, but lacking lances. I'm pretty sure they can't take lances, the warg riders. They don't really do, that +1 to wound, but they do give the ability to knock down for traps. So there is that. So those are the 4 heroes I'm talking about in this video. Next time I come back, we're literally talking about all unnamed heroes. There is only 4 of them left to cover, And then the final video, and it might be 2 videos, we'll be talking about the troop options and the siege weapons. So thanks guys for following along. Hope you are enjoying this Isengard review so far. Like I said, I am trying to keep them shorter because as you can see, this is at about 10, we'll say about 11 minutes by the time I'm done talking here in a minute, plus the 22 minutes from before. So we're talking 33 minutes just to talk about 7 profiles. So definitely glad that I'm splitting this up into smaller things. Easier for editing and easier for you guys watching, I think. So as always, please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what other armies you want to see. Like I said in my first video, I do have a couple set up, and I'm going to try and keep doing them in this order. But until next time, enjoy your Middle-earth hobby.